All right, we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. My name is Doug. Today on the show, we're doing kind of a mashup of something that we usually separate normally, but today we are going to have a playthrough and an interview with the designer of the Black Void RPG, which is currently on Kickstarter right now. It's hit its funding goal and it's smashed a few stretch goals, and right now it's going. The latest stretch goal, I believe, is a GM screen, which is really close to being unlocked. If any of you are excited about what we're talking about today, check out the Kickstarter page in the description of this video. And I am going to welcome Christian Sevaldsen to the show.
Yes.
Did I pronounce that right? I think
Christoffer Sevaldsen.
I always hate messing that up on live on air, but usually I do. Christopher, thank you so much for coming on. I know it is extremely late there. It is
early. It's been
early, yeah. It's extremely early. It's what, 1:30 in the morning there?
It's 1:30 in the morning. Exactly.
Oh my word!
But what better time for some RPG?
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. Thank you so much. We tried to do this a couple times and it just didn't seem to work out. So I'm glad we finally were able to make this connection and make it happen. So. You want to introduce yourself, tell folks who you are and what you do and why you're on today?
Sure. Well, as you said, I'm the creator of Black Void, which is a dark fantasy role-playing game based on Earth being hit by a cataclysm about 4,000 years ago, and mankind being thrown out into the cosmos and meeting a lot of strange, bizarre, and grotesque alien species and trying to survive at the bottom of the hierarchy in a place called Lynn the Eternal. And as Doug said, it's live on Kickstarter right now. We have, I believe, 57 hours to go at this moment. And it's been going pretty well, or amazingly well, actually.
It's very cool.
Yeah, so exciting stuff.
Yeah, you've been like before we went live, we were talking, and you've just had backers every single day, which is great because usually there's a little bit of a lull, and sometimes you have days without Kickstarter, without backers, but you've been able to gain ground every single day, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, especially for a first-time creator. And this is your first time on Kickstarter, correct?
Yes, it is. It is.
Nice. How did you get into designing an RPG?
Well,
can you tell us a little bit about that background?
Yeah, sure. Well, I've been playing since I was probably around 12 years old, and I've always been doing homebrews and my own adventures, and I was probably GMing maybe 50% of the time, and
nice.
And always homebrews. And then Black Void started taking shape maybe 12, 15 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
But bits and bobs, not as in what we see today, actually. Okay. And same as pretty much everybody else. I started with D&D and then progressed to AD&D and then tried different systems, which is called Cthulhu, GURPS, Vampire the Masquerade, trying different stuff.
Yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And then, as it kind of progressed, this thing, I felt that, but there isn't really a system that sort of fits it. So why don't I do something that's tailored specifically to Black Void and the setting? So it came from the setting rather than me wanting to do a system just for doing a system.
Okay, sure. No, that's awesome.
This idea. And then I could have tweaked Dungeons and Dragons and so on and so forth, but it would just mean there would be too many things that would be weird and have to change, and then you'd go off. So it wouldn't really be Dungeons and Dragons or Vampire Groups or whatever anymore. Anyway, so I thought,
right.
I've always wanted something that was simple and focused on the story. So I tried to do that, and then integrating some of the key aspects of the settings, such as enlightenment and Wasta and blood rituals and that sort of thing. So yeah, it just sort of progressed naturally that maybe I should just make a system specifically for it. So yeah.
Nice, very cool. I will mention that if anybody's watching this, it looks like we've got quite a few viewers. If anybody's watching this and you have any questions for Christopher, feel free to put the questions in the chat, and I'll be glad to feed them through as we can during this session. Now, let's talk a little bit about the setting itself of Black Void. It's really, you said it's really interesting. You've got humanity, but it's humanity that's like ripped from Earth, and now they're in space. And you've got all these different. They're not. You don't have like races. You have like species for your game, which is so you kind of have. I personally, I always like sci-fi games. I like sci-fi RPGs. So that's kind of what brought my attention to this game to start out with. Right. But it does have kind of that, like that old school kind of fantasy feel to it as well, which is kind of a really neat mix of the two. Right. So that's what really kind of drew me to it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the feeling that I wanted to get, because I mean, I love fantasy and I love sci-fi as well. So what I sometimes I just say it's kind of sci-fi, but without all the futuristic stuff.
Right, yeah.
Because that is kind of the feeling that you get from it. So I'm really happy that that's come across, because that is definitely one of the things that I wanted, and I wanted to get away from all the tropes and all the typical and standard stuff, because obviously that's been done very well by a lot of other players. So I wanted to do something that stood out, and something that was fantasy but grounded in the familiar, you know. So that's what I set out to do, something that's, you know, brings into mind June, for instance.
Sure. Yes.
But again, without the spaceships. So yeah. So it's really cool that's come across.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, it was like I said, Dune is one of my favorites. So I guess that's kind of why I'm partial to this game. It looks like we got Michael that just joined us. One of the two folks that. We're going to have join our actual play. I don't know if he can hear us yet. It looks like he's muted, but oh, he can hear us. We got the thumbs up.
I think you can hear me now, can you?
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear, my friend.
All right.
Michael, thanks for joining us. We're kind of chatting here with Christopher for a little bit. Do you... we kind of reached out to the Kickstarter folks and said, hey, if anybody would like to join us for an actual play in this session, to email me, and I'm glad you did. Thanks for copping on.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I had a little snafu with the work thing. So
hey, we all have to deal with it. It's fine.
We're 3 time zones, right? We got you on the East Coast, me over here in Mountain Standard Time, and Christopher, are you in Denmark?
No, I'm in Dubai right now.
Oh, Dubai. Okay. I thought that's maybe why you needed to use a VPN.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody, I will say, you know, I know that there were a few folks that were kind of, you know, disappointed that we couldn't do this previously. And, you know, these things happen, you know, when you're dealing with the internet and you're dealing with, you know, folks in different time zones and different countries, it's tough sometimes to get everybody connected and together. So I appreciate everybody that was patient and that's tuning in tonight.
Yeah.
So I totally forgot where I was at with my questions. Let's talk a little bit about the system itself. Do you want to tell folks how, because the base of your game revolves around a D12, which is kind of neat. Do you want to tell how did you come to the D12 decision in your design?
But there's a lot of different reasons for it. One is that the number 12 is significant in the Babylonian and Assyrian and Akkadian numerals.
Okay.
So there's significance to that. It's also that the D12 is the only die where you can reduce to D6, D4, D3, and D2 without having to reduce anyway. And nobody's really using the D12, so it was about time it got to shine, right?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Like, I don't think I have a system that keeps the D12 as like its primary primary.
I've never seen one, and I think to me as well, the dice just looks awesome.
It does, yeah.
And then the other thing is as well that I wanted to have a system where exceptional success and critical failure was more dominant.
Okay. Yeah.
Which it is in this, but at the same time, I wanted to downplay it a little bit in the sense that it occurs more often, but it's not game breaking or game determining when it does. It just adds more flavor. You know what I mean? So basically, when you have in combat a critical mishap, for instance, which obviously occurs more often on a D12 than on a D20, it adds flavor to the encounter rather than just, oh, you drop your weapon and so on and so forth. So sometimes you roll on a new table, and what it can do, it can alter the conditions of a set encounter. So if you're on a mountainside and that happens, maybe a landslide starts or something like this. So it can be something that affects everybody rather than just the person who rolls it. So that's one of the reasons as well, because I think that way it adds drama to the story and makes it hopefully a little bit more interesting.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. I wondered how, like I said, I knew that the critical successes, critical misses were going to happen a lot more, and I kind of like that because that's usually what people talk about when their sessions are over. Like, oh my god, I can't believe I made this big. You know, it's either you epically failed or an epic success. That's what usually sticks with people. So that's another reason why I kind of dug when I was reading the rules. I really kind of dug that part of the game. Do you want to talk a little bit about the? Let's talk a little bit about the characteristics, I guess you would call it, of a character.
Sure.
A character has 8 different characteristics that when you're starting.
Is what I call
traits.
It. I wanted to use slightly different words. I'm very focused on the specific terms of what the different things is, which is also why it's species and not races.
Right.
Because there's a let's say a greater difference between 2 species than there is between 2 races, because 2 races is usually the same species, which obviously in this case is not what's going on. But yeah, you have 8 traits, which is divided between your physical, your mental, and your social. So in terms of that, it's not too different from probably a lot of other systems. But they are catered specifically to what makes sense in the setting. So you have your stamina, your strength, your agility, and your awareness, which is the physical aspect. Then you have your willpower and your intellect for your mental, and then you have your presence and your persuasion. Actually, it says manipulation in the quick start, but that I have changed that afterwards, because persuasion is a more neutral sounding word, whereas manipulation tends to have sort of negative connotations.
Sure.
But it's within the same sphere, but persuasion makes more sense, I'd say. So those are the basics. And then beyond that, you have your backgrounds, you have your talents, and you have your flaws, and you have your skills and your attributes in case you're a half-breed or a void marked. And it's a point-based system. So basically you can do whatever you want with your character. So you don't have the class divisions because that never made sense to me. So you can basically create exactly the character that you want, which is something that I really quite like. It makes it maybe a little bit more difficult for people to say, "Oh, my fighter is blah blah blah," but you can create a character that can do exactly what you want him or her to do, which is what I want.
Absolutely. There's a lot of different customization with the way that you have this set up.
Yeah.
So you said you've been working on this you said it started about 15 years ago. When did the main, like the core of Black Void kind of come like in full focus?
Yeah, like I said, probably 15 years ago, but then it's been on and off. And there's been probably 2, 3, 4 years where I didn't look at it at all, and then I
Okay.
picked it back up and so on. I think the majority of the work has been done over the last couple of years.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to just focus solely on this, which started about a year and a half ago. And I thought, if I'm ever going to do this, it's going to be now.
Sure.
And then it was spurred on by my wife as well, because I've been working on this on and off for a long time. And then at some point she just told me, you know what, you're never going to do this. And then that's where like, yes, I am. And
wives are good like that, aren't they?
So she spurred me on by saying, yeah, it's not. It was like, yeah, I'm gonna make it happen. So that was really cool, inspiration.
That's right. That's right. What do we call that? What do we call that in the parenting world?
Reinforcement.
Yeah, negative. Yeah, exactly. That's how I get my kid to do things. You know, hey, you're never gonna clean up this room. Oh yeah, I am, Dad.
Yeah, I double dare you. So yeah, so that's been really cool. And then so down here we have something called the golf role-playing community, which I joined a long time ago, but just never really. So they do these mini-cons every 3 months. And about 2 years ago, I joined the first one of these. And that spurred it on as well, because they've just been incredibly supportive and really saying like, okay, this has potential. You can actually make something off of this. So that's been really cool.
That's very awesome.
And you don't typically think of the Middle East maybe as a place where you see role playing, but there's a lot of people down here that do, and it's a very active community. I think we're about 700 active people here in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So that's pretty cool.
Wow, that is very cool.
Mm.
Looks like we got a comment that says Crafty Tabletop Story says Chris is the best.
Well, Crafty is one of the guys that helped me along a lot. So he sits in Serbia, and he reached out. Was that half a year ago or something, and asked me if he should do a logo reveal for me.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't really know what a logo reveal was. And he sent me this animated sequence of one of the artworks that I had done, and it just blew me away. And then immediately we just started talking, and then we've been talking ever since. And now we have this group of people who contributes and helps and supports and so on. So yeah, he's an very active part of that.
Speaking of the art in this project is amazing, Christopher.
Yeah.
Like of course, it just draws you right in as soon as you see any of it. In fact, you can see the banners in back of you. That's just a piece of what you've got going on in this project. Who's doing your art for this? Because it's phenomenal.
I've been extremely lucky with the artists that have decided to come along for this ride. So these two are actually from another Dane, who's the little brother of an old friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I met him. But most of the others I've found on DeviantArt or on Instagram, and just reached out to them and said, like, I like your style. Could you consider doing something for me? And there's been more people through the mill, so to say. And some hasn't really worked out because their style wasn't really what, didn't fit the vision.
Sure.
But the team that I have right now, which is, I think, 5 primary artists, and they're just really amazing. So they each have their own style, but somehow it just manages to work together.
Sure.
So actually some of the stuff you see on the Kickstarter and everywhere else is the background might be from one artist, but the main character might be from another.
Oh,
but
no kidding.
It's just so seamless that it just works together so well.
I would have never guessed that.
No, nobody does. I think this is the first time I actually tell anybody that's how it is. But for some of the pieces, that's actually what it is. So that's just amazing. And these people are so cool. I mean, I send them a brief. Sometimes it's like a page long, and sometimes it's just 2 sentences, and just all of them they just get it.
Yeah,
And not only that, they add their own take on it, bringing cool inspiration as well. So yeah, I'm really fortunate with the artists that I'm working with.
Very cool. Audio Bard is on here. He says, "Greetings from the music department of the Black Void." You've got you're an RPG that has a music department.
Well, kind of, yeah, because I used to be a musician.
No! Hey, you're like this. You're the second musician that I've had on that has gone into RPG design.
Well, I got into RPGs before I got into music, but but yeah, no. So actually, Philip he's a friend of Crafty, so he's also from Serbia, and he sent me through Crafty actually a small sample that. Because he'd just been putting it together because he really liked the concept. He'd heard about it from Crafty.
Mm-hmm.
And I just listened to it and I was like, okay, wow, this is just brilliant. It brings me exactly to where, I want to be. Because one of the things about Black Void is when I write, I always listen to music at the same time.
Sure.
And sometimes, it's very specific things. Sometimes it's the soundtrack from Planescape Torment, if you remember that game from a long time ago, which is just brilliant. And there's some Indian stuff in there and some Arabic stuff in there. And he just managed to, get everything into that little soundbite, which became the theme for the campaign video that we did. So, and since for me music is so important, and I think it really adds an ambience to when you're playing, I had a chat with him and I said, let's make some soundtracks into some stretch goals, and we actually already reached that. So there's going to be 3 tracks being sent out to all backers for free that he's composing right now. So that's going to be really cool. So it's going to be the whole experience.
That's awesome, and that's great when you can you get a whole community of people involved with your project. Yeah. People that just want to create your world, and add to what you want to build as well.
Yeah, and when they just get it, it's just amazing. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kuki Kulaka asks, what is the ideal playgroup size for this game?
I'd say that's up to the GM, how much he or she can actually manage. For me, I normally would never go beyond 5 players. Just for the reason that I want to allocate enough time for each to have their moment during the session. But I think my preferred is probably 4. But it, again, like I said, it depends on the gym. How much can you handle?
Right.
But I would say between anywhere between. Actually, I've played one-on-ones where we just had a blast, so that works as well.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'd say probably 2 to 5 players.
Which is
ideal.
Pretty standard for an RPG anyway.
I mean, because you want people to have the time, but you don't want to, and you want the people playing together as well, and so on and so forth. So, yeah.
Sure. Mike, Jake joined the show, and I didn't really get a chance to acknowledge that. Jake, thanks so much for hopping on, and hopefully you didn't scarf down your meal too fast tonight. And I appreciate you joining us. Jake or Michael, do you guys have any questions for Christoffer? I don't want to hog all the Christoffer time. If you guys have any questions about the Kickstarter or about Black Void, feel free to join in.
Yeah, Christopher, I'll just jump in here real quick and
Sure.
then I'll let Jake speak. You said that the concept came to you, I don't know what at least about a decade ago. Is that right? You said?
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
been developing in
Oh,
that period of time. So what was back then is quite different from how it looks right now. But yeah, that's sort of when it started. It started because I built a whole world, and then I had a problem with the hard drive, so I lost about 300 pages of world building right there. But if that hadn't happened, we probably wouldn't have sit here with this today.
so that goes to my question is so you built the world first and then you just started piecing things together. So that's part of what your writing process is. You envision the world and then.
Yeah, well, yes. I look into what could be interesting and so on, and then it just sort of goes from there. And sometimes I've been working on something, and then I realize, okay, that just didn't pan out how I thought it would, or what I wanted it to be, and then that gets chuffed. But yeah, it started with me having an idea of a setting and a story that I thought could be really interesting, and then it sort of went from there. It wasn't even specifically meant to be an RPG in the beginning. It was just a concept that I really quite liked. But then, obviously, being a role-playing gamer, I thought like, okay, maybe this can become something more than just that, you know.
Oh, cool.
That's very cool. Jake, how about you? Do you have any questions? If you don't have any questions, that's fine. I just figured I'd pass off while we still had a few more minutes, and we can go back to more questions later on after actual play. I just know Michael has a limited amount of time, so we figured we'd get started here pretty soon. But if you have a question, feel free to
shoot.
Yeah, for sure. So I had my main question two things. One, will we see a fillable character sheet at some point at all? And then the other one that's actually quite a bit more in depth is, did you pull any inspiration from like a Cthulhu mythos for the void aspect of Black Void? I'm just wondering, are you a fan of H.P. Lovecraft or something like that, or was that already brushed upon?
Yeah. Yes, that is a question that I've gotten quite often. So yes, I love H.P. Lovecraft. I have my collector's edition standing right up there. I don't think if you can see it from there, but yeah, for sure. However, I think the inspiration is actually probably more apparent in the bits that you wouldn't think it to be. My favorite Lovecraft story is the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. And Randolph Carter, he sails on the ships, and actually that's sort of what inspired the Black Voids being able to go from world to world. So it's more sort of in that cosmology rather than void entities and so on. But obviously, you know, Lovecraft is the great master, so for sure there's inspiration there. But I also wanted it to be slightly different. I didn't want it to be just a copy paste, because obviously Chaosium have done an amazing work with Call of Cthulhu. So why would people play Black? What, it was just a rip off of that. But yeah, the inspiration is definitely there.
I will tell you that when I first approached, when we were lining things up for you to come on, I sent this out to the VCG contributors that you know that regularly come on the show, and I said, hey, is anybody interested in this? And everybody was like, oh, I count me in. But then of course, you know, life gets in the way, and we all have work, and we all have, you know, other responsibilities. And one I think Ed made the comment that, oh man, I'm so disappointed I don't get to play Space Cthulhu, I think is what he called Black Void. But he was really excited about it. He thought that it was just an awesome game. So he was.
That's a brand I can do.
What's
definitely a brand. That's a brand I can dig for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, he was. That's. I just laughed. I said, yeah, kind of. It seems like that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Crafty says if Lovecraft was born in Iraq, he would write Black Void, or he would have written Black Void.
Yeah, maybe.
Nice. So we'll kind of put the Q&A on pause for a little bit if we want to play a little Black Void. You guys up for that?
Yeah.
For a little while.
For sure.
All right. Let's. Christopher, it's like 2:00 in the morning, and I don't really want to do that.
I'm gonna go to bed now. Nah, let's do it for sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So I will mention to everybody that we do have pre-generated characters that Christopher has sent us over, and I guess I can just kind of explain who I am and who my PC is, and if you guys want to do the same thing, and once we'll just go around, and yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it. My character is Mahesh. I think is that good enough? Okay, all right.
Pronounce it how you want. It's
all right, that's kind of what I figured. Pure blood. I'm a pure blood. I have an unknown homeworld, and let's see here. What else should I tell you, folks? I have fast reflexes, and I am keenly aware. So this is totally not me as a person. Totally the opposite of Normal Doug. So,
Well, that's what role playing is about, right?
Exactly. So it says like I'm a quick thinker, a fast reflexes, and keen awareness. They're pretty much my strong points. And yeah, I think that's and I've got some herbalism that I can use to do other things. And yeah, I think that's probably pretty good for my character bio. Jake, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm playing Akkad, or Cad.
However you want to say it, man.
Yeah, he's Akkad probably. He's a big. Seems like he's a big human, bronze skin, dark brown hair. When I'm picturing this guy, I'm picturing like Conan the Barbarian.
Nice.
From Robert E. Howard's work.
Absolutely.
And so his desire and motivation is to not only survive but to thrive in this situation. And his philosophy and principles are: do not fear the unknown, but be skeptical nonetheless.
Nice.
He's from the cast of Baltu, I'm sorry. He's slightly above in the caste system.
Very cool.
Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, go for it, my friend.
Yeah, and I'm playing Intok. He's male, 27 years old. He's slight, wiry type of person. He's a half-breed from an unknown world. He has tanned skin. Very interesting. He has vertical slits for eyes, so I'm envisioning very, very interesting. And he's got red hair, which in my mind stands out as is not what a human's hair would be, but like bright red.
Sure.
He's of the I think it's Kalbi. He's casteless, so I envision him as growing up on the streets. He doesn't feel like he fits in with anything. So his deepest desire is to be truly accepted among his human kin. But because he's so slight and grew up on the streets, I get the feeling he had to survive, because his philosophy is if they can't see you, they can't hurt you. So he's developed this really keen sense of being able to observe and fit in and kind of spy on people. And so he's got he's very vigilant, and he has a very good skill at observing people and kind of blending into the background. He's kind of learned that as a defensive skill. Because of growing up on the streets and being, he's had to develop that as I think as a survival type of skill, because he's so slight and needing to survive in this harsh environment.
Sure. Yeah. Nice. Very cool. Sounds like we've got 3 very keen, different PCs.
Yeah, exactly. That was sort of the point as well.
Nice. So this is me handing the show over to you, Christopher. Take it away. You're in control, my friend.
Perfect. Right. So this one shot is set a little bit before the human enclaves are really established in Lynn the Eternal, the main stage. But you guys are sort of helping a woman named Virada, who is trying to establish a human enclave in the city. As you know from the setting, humanity is sort of at the bottom of the food chain, and everybody's sort of stomping on them, and they're quite often taken as slaves or just killed just for being human. So you've been called in to Farada as she has something she wanted to discuss with you. So I'm just going to read the introduction speech from her. So, the slaver Sultan Darek Mark is haunting our every step, his stinking breath ever at our backs, engulfing those too weak to run into his greedy arms. But we shall run no more. We shall show that mankind is not weak, will not lie down, will not submit. We shall destroy him and his foul henchmen. We shall laugh as the light leaves his dying eyes and his foul breath turns cold and still. We shall prevail, and it shall be by your hands, my heralds of dawn. So, this Sultan has been haunting the human enclave, or this gathering of humans, for quite a while, and quite often just marches in and takes people as slaves, dragging them off to be sold at the slave market. But we found out that he intends to make a major raid to extinguish the whole community at midnight tonight, and I need you three to stop this. We know that he has his stronghold on a small island in the central river of the city, and unless we stop him before he gathers everybody, there will be no more humanity in Lynn by tomorrow. What we do know is that he has hired mercenary companies to come and help him with this, because obviously he doesn't have that many men himself. And we know that he has helpers that may be the key to figuring out how to stop this from happening. So we know that there is a seer on a small island in this area who he's using to gain information from, and he might be the key to actually stopping this. You don't necessarily need to kill the Sultan, but you just need to stop this raid from taking place, because we're unable to defend ourselves. We don't have the manpower, we don't have the guards, and we've got nowhere to run. If we run, he's going to hunt us down, and we're all going to be dead or sold as slaves by morning. So she explains to you where this guy is, and let me just see. How do I share the screen? Can you see that? Oh, right. Do you see that?
No. Did you push? Did you push the share button? There we go.
There you go. Do you see it now?
Let me click. There we go. Yep.
All right. Good. So let me just zoom out. So this is the area where the Sultan is living. You can see the major building up here.
Yes.
So all the light stuff is the river. So this is an area built on platforms. And this area right here is the mansion, so to speak, where the Sultan lives. Now over here is a small hut on stilts in the river. This is where the Seer is actually located. So we don't really know too much about the Seer, but we know that the Sultan uses him to gain information every now and again, and he might have information that can help in defeating the Sultan.
Excellent. Excellent. Do you
So,
want to hit the stop sharing?
yes, hang on.
As much as folks probably like to see my face on two screens. There we go.
All right.
There we go. Much better.
Okay. Right. So she's given you the weapons that you have. If you look on your character sheet on page 2 in the bottom, you will see the weaponry that each of you has. You will see that you all have a little bit of protective gear or armor. But obviously, humanity being in the state that it is, this is quite limited. But you've been given the best that they have available.
Gotcha. Yikes.
So, so she gives you the speech, and says, "Well, it's dusk now, meaning that we have around 6 hours until the Sultan is supposed to do this raid. So you're our best and last hope. So go forth and hopefully save us."
All right.
So you're gonna start at the entrance to this area, which is basically by a sort of a hanging bridge overlooking these platforms. Now the platforms this is really a shanty town. It's been built from whatever the residents have been able to scrounge, steal, or collect from other houses. So it's really it's not a nice place. And the stench is just overwhelming. Now, it's built on the river, which is muddy and known for containing what's known as silt sharks, which are really nasty predators, so you don't really want to fall into the water.
All right.
And you know this obviously since you've grown up in Lynn the Eternal, so you know your way out. So this is where you're standing. You're overlooking this, and it's getting
late. We're running out of time. All right. What say you guys?
So is there anybody moving around in the area that we can see?
Yeah, there are some different people walking around. Obviously, it's not that heavy traffic at the moment because it is sort of dusk. But there are some people in the narrow alleys in the streets, but none of them seem to pay any attention to you.
Okay.
Does it look like there are any guards like in the immediate vicinity of or at the compound there?
So you can't. So you're still on the mainland,
Okay.
looking onto the first of those platforms. You can't really see the main square over there yet.
Okay.
But from where you are, you don't really see any guards. So in Lynn, it's a very sort of autonomous city. So you don't have your typical city guards because the unseen rulers who govern the place don't really care about the inhabitants. So whatever you have would typically be private reinforcers and constabulatories and so on and so forth. So, but you don't really see any overly armed people.
Okay. I think Akkad would take lead on this and just I would start moving forward into the area.
Sure.
As we don't see anybody, and he's not one to really hide. He's not very sneaky or anything. He's not trying to hide in the shadows. He's just gonna go right for his target.
Right.
Yeah, Mahesh will walk right beside him and kind of just kind of be observant as to the things that are going around.
Yeah, and I guess I'll bring up the rear, given that Intok is prone to do the shadows, so I'm going to kind of stick to the shadows and keep my eyes and ears, my eye slits open, for any kind of anything that I need to be alerted on, anything maybe like somebody might draw attention to us or something like that.
Sure. Cool. So as you're walking through these streets, you notice that the few people that are out and about tend to look sort of as raggedy as you, although there are no other humans in the area as far as you can see. But you get through the first couple of platforms without incident, and you reach the main one. Should I just bring it up on screen again?
Sure.
Right, so you get to the first bridge here, and you can see this is a major plaza, which is about maybe 25 meters. I calculate meters. I can do feet, but it's
no, that's fine.
You do see that there is a main gate into the mansion where the Sultan supposedly lives, where there are a couple of armed guards, but they don't seem to be paying any attention to anything going on beyond the vicinity. So you make your way across the other platforms, and you reach the supposed location of where the Seer is supposed to live. Now, this is a tiny platform built off from the rest, which is maybe 3 meters across, something like this. And there are a number of posts in the water leading over to this. So they're about a meter and a half apart. You can jump to get there, but obviously it requires a little bit of effort. What you can see is the dusk has started. It's getting darker and darker. Obviously, you can see some light playing from within inside a small hut mounted on this platform. And this hut it's built from what appears to be just refuse. It's really, and there's a strange smell coming from over there as well. But you can see the light playing over there, and what seems to be a shadow moving around inside.
Akkad's gonna try and get. Did you say we still have to make it over there yet?
Mm-hmm.
So we still have to jump. So he's going to attempt to use athletics to get to that particular location.
Okay, so you're gonna jump from post to post to get there. All right. And while you do that, what do the other two do?
I'm gonna probably follow Akkad. I'll follow as well. I'll wait for him to go, and then I will also make the attempt.
All right. Cool. So
I'm gonna watch them fall in the water.
So you've watched this show before, huh, Michael? Huh?
Perfect. What I want you to do is make an awareness roll.
Okay.
Okay.
So I've got 4 points in awareness right now, and so that gives me a +1 modifier.
Exactly. So when you do, there are different kinds of rolls. So there's your standard roll where you just apply your modifier and a skill and so on and so forth. And then there's what's called a basic roll, which is based purely on your trait. So an awareness roll is exactly that. So what it does is it doubles your modifier,
Okay.
both if it's negative or positive. So in this case, it's a difficulty 7. So each of you make an awareness roll, double your modifier, and then let's see who else.
Ooh. So Michael can actually predict the future, from what we can tell. So I have a 4.
Yeah, I got a 4 as well.
Mm-hmm. That with or without modifiers?
That's
with.
That's with, yeah.
Because
Alright.
I have a -1, but with it doubling, I've got a -2 on my modifier.
Okay. Right, Michael, what did you get?
Let's see. That's awareness roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does my vigilant count for that or not?
Yes, it would in this case.
So that's a +2. So I got a 9.
Okay, right. So while the two others don't really see anything, as you overlook them starting to go on these posts, you do see there are quite a few fins in the water surrounding this this platform. But the other two seem strangely oblivious to this fact.
Great.
That's about right.
That's fine. So, anyways, so you start jumping on these posts, and like I said, they're about a meter and a half space, so you can actually jump them without too much effort. As you get to the fourth one, which is the last one before the actual platform, you need to make a surprise roll. Now, Jake, you were in front, right?
That's right.
All right. So, do you have observation or anything of that sort on your skill?
I do not. I have athletics, streetwise, and intimidation.
Okay, right. So, what happens is, as you get to the last post before actually reaching this platform, you see two very large, very filthy rat-looking creatures just shooting out of this cabin straight towards you. And I'm just going to show you a picture of what they sort of look like. If I can get this nice sharing to work. All right.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, nice.
Now, this is known as a sludge rat. You've obviously heard about these before, having grown up in the city.
Mhm.
They are about the size of a dog. So they're about a meter long plus another meter for the tail. And they just come sprinting out of this cabin and one jumps directly at you. So what I want you to do is make a surprise roll.
Okay.
Which is an opposed roll against these two. So you will add your awareness and vigilance if you have that, which you don't. And then whoever rolls highest. So I managed to roll a 12.
So I rolled a 7.
Let's say you get surprised.
Yeah. I'd say that's very likely.
Yeah.
Right. So what I want everybody to do is roll initiative. Now, initiative is a d12, again, as with everything else, where you add your speed modifier, which is noted in... So since none of you actually have your weapons brandished, it's your agility modifier that you add to this.
Oh. Oh.
So
Yeah,
I rolled a 9.
Ah,
8 for me.
So Jake's at an 8. Michael, what did you get?
6.
All right, Doug?
I got a 1.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Hey, I'm getting it out of my system. No more 1s the rest of the session.
Yeah, get it out in the beginning and then you're
Right.
set. So that's the way to do it. So what happens is that Jake, you get surprised by these things just shooting directly at you. So since this is an animal, it's sort of limited in the amount of combat actions that it can choose. So one of the things about Black Void, just to explain a little bit about the mechanisms, is that it's based on combat maneuvers, which means that you have a wide range of different maneuvers that you can utilize. If you got your quick start document,
Mm-hmm.
some of these are featured in here on page. Just find it.
Here we go.
20 something.
24, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
24, 25. Yeah.
24, exactly. So there are 16 different ones in the quick start. In the core book, there's 39. So there's quite a lot to choose from. And one of the reasons for this is that I wanted to make combat more interesting in terms of actually having different things going on rather than just your standard attack all the time. Obviously, animals are quite limited in what maneuvers they can do. So what this one does is a standard attack to try and bite your legs off. So it rolls to hit. That is actually an 11, not bad. It doesn't get any modifiers. If you look on your second page of your character sheet, you will see you have a defense value. Which defense value do you have?
Defense value is 7.
7. So I managed to equal or exceed that, which means that it sinks its teeth into you, causing 3 points of damage.
Okay.
Yikes.
Total health of 27. Okay.
Right. So while that goes on, the other one stays on the edge of the platform because there's not enough room on the post for it to jump over there. So that was the surprise round where obviously you don't get to react. Then we move on to the next combat round. Now, I rolled a 9, which means that the rats get to go first. However, you can choose to do a reaction, which can be dodge or something like this.
Okay.
So this lovely rat, obviously, is going to try to bite you once again. So the question is whether you would like to utilize a reaction or let it do it and then have your action afterwards.
I'm going to attempt to do a reactionary move in this case. So I will attempt to dodge.
Right. So a dodge is an opposed roll, meaning that I will make the attack roll for the rat and you will make your dodge roll. And if you manage to beat the attack roll, including all modifiers, then you have actually dodged the attack.
Okay.
So the rat actually gets an exceptional success.
No.
And I rolled a 5, so there's no way that's happening.
There's no way. Which is weird, because actually this dice, blue one, is usually quite unlucky for me, but today it's on a roll, so to say. So what happens is it hits you, and it not only hits you, it makes an exceptional hit. So I will take out this lovely.
Ooh, look at that. That's fancy.
Exceptional. So this is actually the GM screen that we're hoping to get to produce.
Oh, that's beautiful.
To everybody. So this is a sample I got done. So the way exceptional hits work is that you roll a d12 and then for severity, and then you roll a d6 for the actual effect. And in this case, oh my God, I rolled another 12 for this effect and a 1 for the effect. So as he chugs into you, the victim is unable to do anything for d12 rounds and must roll for crippling injury. Combatants in the vicinity are so grossed out by this that they must make a fear roll or be affected by this. So actually, since you two are watching this, I need you to make a fear roll, difficulty 6, or just get or run away from this.
All right.
So we have to roll a 6 or higher, right?
Yep.
I turn tail and run.
Yeah, I rolled a 3, so.
Oh my God, this is the most insane rat ever. Well, luckily it doesn't cause that much damage since it is only a rat, but still. So that's 4. Right, it does 6 points of damage to you.
Ouch.
And since it manages to do a crippling injury as well, I've never actually had a crippling injury happen. So that's quite spectacular.
Rolls are on point today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that works in the same way. D12 for the severity and a D6 for the effect. But there you're lucky. I only rolled a 2 for severity. So this is a violent impact to the head. So not only does it jump you, it jumps in your face, causing a -3 penalty to your future actions for D3 days.
Oh,
Ooh,
It is a crippling injury,
harsh.
which is going to be for 2 days actually. So consider yourself having a -3 penalty for the remainder of the session.
Yep.
Wow! Yikes! So does Michael run away? I know Michael. You said that you could only be here for a little while to start out with, and I don't want to.
that actually works really well because I was just about to say I do have to unfortunately leave, and Rat was about to eat somebody. I have to
It's
go.
almost as if it was planned.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Michael,
but I really appreciate the time, the opportunity to be on the show and the time to meet you, Christopher, and you, Jake, too, as well.
For sure.
Yeah,
Michael,
looking forward to the end.
We'll have to have you back on, and if we're still going when you're free, feel free to hop back on. But yeah, no, I appreciate you taking time and coming on, and we'll have to have you on for a longer duration next time.
Yeah, I hope so because I'm leaving on a note of cowardice here.
Well, not voluntarily.
All right, take care, gentlemen.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, good to meet you.
All right.
All right. So that was pretty disastrous.
That was very disastrous.
Terrible.
That's not a good start.
No, it's not.
Whoa.
It's
What
not.
one of our members got mauled, and one of them ran away.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
Let's see here. How am I going to? So am I? Am I
You were
still
on
trying
the
to get
post
onto the
behind
platform?
him, if I recall correctly, right?
Right. So I'm still on those those planks that are trying to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I? Can I come around him and just let's see here. I've got
Which weapon do you have?
I have a glaive.
Okay, so a glaive is has a pretty long reach. It has the near reach, which means you can actually hit things up to 4 meters away.
Nice. So I'm taking it. One of them still attached to his head.
Yes, one of them is attached to it as he desperately tries to cling on to his to the post that he's actually still located on.
Can I try to come around to the side and try to pry it off his face?
Sure, you can do it. If just attack it,
Yeah.
or do a specific action.
No, I'll just try to attack it.
Okay, do that. Make a roll. So if you look at your weapons on page 2 in the bottom, you would see that there is
I have an attack
modifier and a speed modifier. So the attack modifier consists of 2 things. It consists of your agility modifier and your skill modifier.
Oh, okay.
So I've added those 2 together just to make it simple. So that is what you add to your roll to hit this little creature.
All right, let's do it. That is an 11.
Nice. All right. Perfect. You definitely jog into it. So this poor rat, still attached to Jake's face, actually gets a glaive in its side. How much do you deal in damage?
And it says D12 damage, so that is a 10 again.
Ooh, that is really... Okay. So what happens is you have the rat attached to his face and you just stab right through it. It bleeds severely. So what it does is it decides to detach from his face.
Nice.
It jumps back onto the platform as quickly as it possibly can. Where the other one is sort of standing waiting. As that happens, you hear a shriek coming from inside this hut. No! What are you doing to my pets? What are you? And out comes this little sort of gray greenish creature, screaming and shouting at you. Let me see if I can find it. Ah, there it is. Let me just show you sort of what it looks like.
Oh no, that thing's terrible.
Oh, oh my word. Okay.
So this guy comes out screaming and shouting, "What are you doing? Why are you killing my pets? Stop that, stop that, stop that."
Yeah, no, I don't know. I just your pets are attacking us.
I look at him. Like, do you see? Do you see?
Never.
And then I look at him. I'm like, do you see this? Do you see this?
See what?
It's like he gets down to his height and pointing at like the bite marks. This.
That's what you get for attacking my pets. See? Self-defense. Ah, you humans. You always barge in and then just start attacking things and then claiming that it's their fault. All right, all right. Well, why are you here anyway?
Well, we're here to find out if you know anything about what was the Sultan? What was the Sultan's name?
Darek.
I don't think I was Darek.
We're here to talk to you about Darek.
Right. Come, follow me. We mustn't speak here. You follow me. And he sort of edges into his hut, indicating for you guys to follow.
And this is the hut that has the smell radiating from it. So in which case, Akkad will then take his cloak and just kind of cover his face ever so, eloquently.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow, but I'll just bear through it because at this point I've probably gotten used to some of it at least.
I need you both to make a stamina roll, please. Difficulty 4. However, Jake, you get a +1 for putting the cloak over your mouth.
Ah, nice.
Okay, so that'll be a -2 because of my -3. So a 0.
But what's your stamina?
Let me see here. Let me see. Stamina's a +1.
Okay, so you get +2 because it's
okay, that's true. So it'd be a 1.
And you get a +3 because of the cloak.
Oh, okay. We get a +3 because of the cloak. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what's your final score?
9 in that case.
Okay, no problem. Doug, what did you get?
I got a 4.
You got a 4?
Yep.
All right.
I have a -1 modifier, so that times 2, and I rolled a 6. So.
Okay, cool. So as you enter this hut, you feel like the stench is just overwhelming. You don't know what's been going on in here, but it's not nice. It's not something for normal people, so to say. But you manage to contain yourself and not just vomit all over the place. Inside, you see an assortment of animal pelts strung in the rafters, and there's a small fireplace in the middle with a small cauldron of something boiling, which is probably producing the majority of the stench. And you actually see a bit of a tail sticking out of that. And this little guy, he just trundles over and sits down on something that might have been, a pile of rocks or something like this. And it's, sit down. You're here to discuss Darek. Did he send you?
No, we weren't sent by Darek.
Who sent you then?
Fiendra sent us.
Oh, don't know who that is. What do you? Darek is not a nice person. He makes me tell him things that I don't want to tell him. But why are you here? Why are you here? What do you wish to know?
We wish to know how to end him without really.
Why do you wish to end him?
We don't want our kind to suffer a horrible fate.
What fate?
We know that his plan is to enslave us, and we're not in favor of that.
You are from the human enclave.
That's right.
Yes, that is correct.
Well, he's well, I don't want to help Arik, but he forces, or his lieutenant forces me to help him. He's got my children, you see. He's got my children, and he's holding them captive. That's why I help him. But maybe you can help me, and then I will help you. Yes.
But do you know where he's holding your children?
He lives in a house not too far from here, and he holds my children. He keeps them in small glass orbs. My poor children, he keeps them in glass orbs, and they can't get out. And you can help them. You can help me get my children back, and then I will help you. Yes.
Sounds fair. Do
You help me, and I can help you.
All right. That sounds doable. Whereabouts are these orbs that you speak of?
I don't know where he keeps them, but he's taken all my 6 children, and I don't know where he keeps them. But you must rescue them from me. If you rescue them, I will help you. I will tell you things to make you to give you knowledge. I can do that. I can tell you things. But you must help me first. You must help me get my children back. He keeps them in orbs, glass orbs. Please help me.
We'll help you. Fools.
Then maybe I'll forget about you attacking my poor pets as well.
They attacked me.
No, I don't. Well, either way.
Akkad just scowls at him. Just if looks could kill, he's burning holes.
So, trying to intimidate or just to get it out of your system?
And I'm just gonna put my hand on Akkad's chest and be like, and I'll look at and I'll be like, let's just agree to disagree.
Well, if you save my children, I can agree to many things.
All right, that sounds fine. Do you have any? So you have no indication as to where he's keeping your children then?
Well, he lives. Okay, so he lives in a hut over on the platform over there. But this lieutenant, he's not just anybody. He is a deva. Do you know what that is?
A deva.
Isn't that? He looks maybe a little bit like you, but he's got 4 arms. 4 arms, I tell you, and he's frightening to look at. He's not from a cosmic world. I'll tell you that. And he's scary. He's scary. but you're strong, and you can probably get my children away from him. I'm sure. And maybe he's not been good to your kind either. I don't know. I don't leave my hut much.
We can tell.
But he lives in a hut. I will. You go out, and it's yeah. He tells you where the hut is.
Okay.
If you can get my children back to me, I will help you. I will tell you everything I know. But you must not share my involvement in this. If you do, he will kill my children for sure.
Yeah, we won't let that happen. I will die before that happens.
That's likely.
Okay. All right. So we know where. So we know what hut we're going to.
Yep.
All right. How far away is it?
It's 5 minutes walk.
No, that's
All right. Is it Akkad?
Akkad.
Akkad. I'm gonna write that down. Do you want me to take lead, or do you want to? Since you are you still kind of groggy from your head injury?
Yeah. He would look at you. Yes, you take the lead this time.
All right, I can do that. So let's so we'll exit the hut and head on over to the direction of where we need to go.
Right. As you come out into the slightly more fresh air, you sort of breathe a sigh of relief. And you see one of the two rats from before standing there sort of snarling at you, but keeps its distance, looking at the glaive in your hand. And you jump the posts and you come onto the platform, away from the hut. And you sort of you walk through the areas, and you come onto the main platform where you have the Sultan's mansion at the far end. And on the opposite side of this, there are three connected sort of houses or hovels. Like I said, everything is sort of shantytownish here. And you see the one indicated by the Seer, which is a low one, with a single door, which looks fairly sturdy from the front at least, and it's quite dark. There's really sort of no lighting in the area, so all you can go by is the few torches and oil lamps mounted on some of the other buildings in the near vicinity. So you're facing this building, which is sort of low with a sturdy door at the center of the front.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Jake, do you have
Do I have a plan?
Yeah. What do you think we should do here?
The problem is he's not much of a planning type, so I don't foresee him as much of a planning type. He's more of a I take action sort of character. So he'd probably rely on. I can't remember your character's name now. I'm gonna write that down.
Mahesh.
Mahesh.
Yeah, I'll go Mahesh. Mine actually says a quick thinker, but I'm trying to think of what I can do here in this situation.
So,
well, since you do have a quick thinker, what you would probably do is survey the area a little bit.
All right, why don't I do that?
At least to get sort of an idea of the layout. So, as you look around, this house is on the edge of the platform. So you have the door leading onto the platform. You have on one of the free sides there is a window, but sort of over the water's edge. But you would be able to get out to it. And on the back side, which is completely on the water's edge, you have a larger window, which could definitely fit somebody through. Now, there's no glasses, there's no glass in these windows, so they look to be accessible. And the roof is sort of flattish and about maybe 2-3 meters above the platform. And one of the things you notice as well is that the house seems to go into the water. So there might be something like a basement or something beyond what you just can see on the surface.
Does Lynn have any sort of sewer system or anything like that?
In some of the richer districts, yes, but since this is all built on platforms on the river, there's
nothing of that sort. Okay, so I'd assume we'd be best going underneath to try and go from underneath into the location.
The only problem with that is you need to get into the water.
And are there still? I guess we'd have to do an observation roll because neither of us saw that particular.
None of you saw anything.
Yeah.
Well, however, since you are from Lynn, you do know that silt sharks are abundant in the river. So you know that there are certain dangers associated with going swimming. So yeah.
You said we do have access to one of the windows?
Well, you can climb on the wall of the house because, like I said, it's built from leftover materials and scratch materials, and so it's fairly uneven, and you can get handholds and climb onto there if you try.
I think that's probably our best option.
Spot,
yeah, let's probably our best option at this point.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do is we'll kind of climb around and try to hop through one of the windows.
Right. That requires either an acrobatics roll or something of that sort of a difficulty 4.
I've got athletics for a skill.
Athletics kind of works more as prolonged physical exertion, running for a long time and climbing mountains and that sort.
Okay, in which case I don't have anything that would fall into that category.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything that falls in that category either, to be honest.
Okay. Well, then it would just be an agility roll.
Okay.
So -3.
Boy, I'm actually running. I'm rolling pretty good. I have a 10.
Hey, no falling into the water for you.
I would have had a 10, but I have a 7 because of the -3.
Well, it still works.
Yeah.
It's fairly easy. So it's just that there is a risk of falling into the water, which is why it requires a rule. But both of you managed to do it just fine. You climb on the outside wall of the house around to the window on the side where you can actually look into this hole. What you can see without poking your head through too much is that there's a bit of light coming from inside, probably some torches or something coming from below you, which means that it seems to be sort of a 2-story building, but going into the water rather than up. And you do hear some noises coming from within, from something or somebody maybe walking around doing something. If you want to peek in, you can, but you obviously will risk being spotted.
Yeah. I think we should just peek in just to kind of see what's before we just. I mean.
Well, yeah, because then we could get a potentially surprise on anybody who may be there.
Exactly.
Right. All right. What you can do is you can peek in enough at least to see some of it, but without actually being exposed to whoever might be in there. And what you see is you can see the front door on the far wall, and it has sort of a balcony, and then 2 stairs leading down into what appears to be the main room. If you want to poke your head through to actually look down there, that's when you risk exposure. But from what you can see this door with sort of a plank as a lock,
Sure.
making sure a bar, right? And then you can, like I said, you can see some flickering lights, and you can actually see a shadow on the wall moving around down there. So there's definitely somebody walking around.
And they're walking around down in the lower
Downstairs,
level.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of try to look in and look down a little bit further.
All right. Do you have stealth or anything of that sort?
I don't think so. No, I didn't see it on here.
Okay. Let's just make an agility roll, and I'll just see if somebody down there is aware.
It's just make an agility roll.
Yeah.
And that's just for you specifically, because you were poking right through. Okay.
I rolled an 11.
Okay. Very cool. So you kind of peek down, sticking to the shadows. What you see is you can see that the balcony with the two stairs leads down to a room where the floor is maybe 4 meters below the edge of the window where you're perched. Down there, you see underneath this balcony, you see 2 cages, about 1 meter wide and a couple of meters tall, with some figures lying inside them. You can't really see what's in there because of the shadows, but you can definitely see that there is something in there. What you also see is a table, actually. So on the right-hand wall, propped up against that, where you see a number of glass orbs on it, actually. And in front of this table, you see a figure standing up, rummaging around with some stuff on the table. You can't really see his or her features, but you do notice that this thing has 4 arms. And a number of pretty nasty looking swords hanging in his or her belt.
Of course.
Yeah, that's what you see.
So, Akkad, what I'm thinking. So Akkad doesn't see this. It's just me at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell Akkad exactly what I see.
Sure.
And I think what we need to do is we need to cause a distraction to get him out of this house. Right, out of this hut. So then that way we can go down. One of us makes a distraction outside the house, and the other person goes down and gets these orbs.
Well, I can do distractions fairly well.
So I don't know if we want to. I don't know if we want to take on this 4-armed guy with these awesome swords, or just the 2 of us. What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
I think I can provide a distraction well enough to let you get the orbs freely and then escape.
Okay. All right. What do you want to do for a distraction?
Open combat.
Nice.
Because what he's thinking is he would go down, I would go down, call him out. Did we happen to get told the name of this particular lieutenant by the Seer?
No.
Okay. Okay. In which case, yeah, he would still call him out. And then hopefully, even just by calling him out, it would offer you some bit of a distraction. Because he'd obviously have to go out and address whoever's, yelling at him.
This is true. Okay.
So he gets down so at this point he would climb down the wall and leave Mahesh up there so that he can actually I should state this. Is the area visible where Mahesh where Mahesh is hanging perched from.
Mhm.
If he's coming to that door area in the like the front of the location where Akkad's going to be, is Mahesh still visible for him if he were to say look up?
So you have sort of the balcony here with the door, then you
Yeah.
have the floor down here, and then the window where Mahesh is over here, and then there's a second window on the other
Okay.
on the opposite side. So if he were to look this way, then yes, he would be able to see him.
Okay.
But obviously, if his attention was directed at the door, then there's a pretty good chance that
Okay.
he wouldn't.
Okay. Just a fair point, just so you have a heads up. So so at this point, I think Akkad would scale down the wall and get, a kitty, like just in line with the door and start screaming, Deva!
All right. Okay. So, but are you doing that from the same window, or are you at the different windows? So one is at one space and the other is at the other.
I would. Is he able to get down to like a lower platform where the door would be, so that he would be able to draw his attention away
The
from
door is actually sort of level with where the window is.
with the window? Okay.
Where the window, there's no balcony underneath, so
Yeah,
you would
okay.
have to go all the way down.
So he would go all the way down. Like that's
Yeah.
what his intention would be, is to draw as much attention away from Mahesh as possible.
Okay. So Mahesh would be at the other window, I'm assuming, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so you slide down the wall all of a sudden and start screaming at this poor fellow with the forearms. Home invader. All right, what do you scream? I'm assuming you're brandishing your weapons as well.
He would totally be brandishing his weapons. Like at this point, he'd uncinch his two battle axes from his side, and then just yell out, Deva, face me.
And so he does.
Okay.
Right. So when you jump in, he just whirls around facing you, like, and you see this. It's humanoid, but it's definitely not human. It's something from beyond anything you've ever seen before. But there's no question that you've got its full attention as you jump down. Roll for initiative.
All right.
Or actually, roll first. Make a surprise roll, actually. No. I will actually, you don't have to roll. He has to make an awareness roll to see if he notices you as you come back. Which he does not, because he rolled a 4, which is, even with his quite good awareness, is not enough to make him aware that you jumped down. So he is actually surprised. So you get one action before he gets to do anything than stare at you open-mouthed.
Okay. Let me just switch over and see what action I'm going to take. So he's facing me at this point?
His side is to you, but his face is turned towards you, obviously.
Okay. So I think he's just going to straight up, go a standard attack.
Okay.
Just trying to see if there would be anything else. Yeah, no, I think just a standard attack, because I'm not going to go with an all-out. Actually, maybe an all-out attack. Now, I'm just curious with an all-out attack, because he's surprised in this case. I would still get a -3 to my defense mod. How long does that -3? Is it just pertain to the round, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So all-out attack just means that you focus all your energy on hitting your opponent. So actually, when you have a surprise attack, it makes a lot of sense because he doesn't have an opportunity to hit back on that.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking to do.
However, keep in mind that you do have your 2 battle axes.
Yes.
And which means that you can do 2 attacks in a round if you so wish.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously there will be penalties to these. I think you have your character as ambidextrous, right?
Yes, he's ambidextrous, so he gets a slight advantage with
So you get,
using.
there's no penalty to the first attack, but you get a -3
Yeah.
to the second one.
Yeah, exactly.
If you choose to utilize 2.
So I think I'm still going to go with an all-out attack, and since he's brandishing both, he's going to try and do as much damage as he possibly can, because if he even wounds him significantly, then it makes a greater chance for him to get away as well.
Right.
Okay, so that's a +3 to my attack mod.
But remember your -3 from
So-
the crippling injury.
It would equal out at this point.
Yeah.
So let's go. So that's a 4.
Nope.
And let's try the second one. And that's a what, -3? Let me just double check again. Yeah, -3. So
But you have to remember what is your attack, your normal attack modifier, because you still add that. So you have your +3 for an all-out attack.
Yeah.
Then your normal attack modifier is what? +2, +3?
where am I seeing that on the character sheet? The
On
plus.
by the
second
weapon
page?
at the bottom of page 2.
Yeah, with your weapon.
Oh, battle axe is +2 attack modifier.
So you actually have +2 to that roll.
Yeah, so it would have been a 6 on the previous roll.
Still
As
not
opposed-
enough.
Okay, that's fine. In which case, so then I've got a -1 on the second battle axe and a -3 for the ambidextrous, so -4. -2. So
But was it a natural 1 or no?
it was a natural 1, so it's really bad.
That is a critical mishap. Okay. Then I need you to roll another d12 to see what
Yep.
actually happens.
Just standard without any modifiers.
Yep.
5.
Right. The attacker stumbles. Roll agility, difficulty 6 to avoid falling and being placed prone or suffer a -1 to the next action.
Oh dear God. Okay, so agility. So that's I take into account the -3 from that, and 9.
Oh,
It would have
nice.
been a 12. So
Okay, perfect. So you managed to keep your footing,
great.
which is well done. Ah!
Yeah, basically, I'm causing a distraction.
You very much so. You got his full attention. There's no doubt about that. All right. While he does this, Doug, what are you doing?
Can I climb into the window and go down the stairs to? I want to get the orbs.
Yeah. So the window where you're at is also in a different place than where the balcony is. So what you can do is you can climb in and then you can slide down to. It's actually right above where the table is,
Okay.
which means that you can actually just get down and then you're actually standing on the table.
Oh, nice.
So you can do that while he's fumbling around trying not to fall too much over there. And as you do that, combat begins, and I need you to roll initiative, please. And I roll a 7 for the Deva.
I rolled a 4.
Jake, what are you
Am I rolling that with the -3 as well?
No.
Initiative? No. No modifiers. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I have +1 surprise initiative. So maybe do I add a +1 to my 4?
Yeah.
So I've got a 5.
Okay.
So I got 6.
Nice. So
All right, so that basically means that the Deva gets to act first. Now that it's no longer surprised. What it does is that it starts unsheathing its swords. And also, what you notice is that it's actually only carrying 3 swords, even though it has 4 arms. but the fourth hand is not idle. It grabs into a pouch, out of which it pulls one of these orbs as well.
Oh,
So these orbs are, like I said, they're glass, and you inside them you see this sort of swirling mist kind of thing. And it sends you a wicked grin as it pulls one of these out, and that's what it uses its round for. Which means that Jake, you're up
all right.
on a 6.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to. I know what I want to do. The question is it? Oh God, that's I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can do that with my -3 because I do a called attack on the hand, but that's gonna be.
Get a lot of penalties.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm gonna go with.
Yeah.
I'm going just with a straight up attack on him. In this case, so normal attack, no modifiers except for my -3.
Okay. Just standard attack for with both battle axes or just with one?
I'm gonna go with both because I might as well try and.
Might as well.
So in which case that'll be a +1 for the. It'll be a -1 for the first one with the attack modifier.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. So I rolled a 3, so I got a 2.
Yeah. You swing and you miss.
That's a big miss. And let's see. So and then we're on a -1, so that's a -4 on my second one.
Mm-hmm.
Work. There we go. Oof. So I rolled a 2 and got a -2. So big miss.
Big miss as well. At least points for trying.
Yeah.
Right. So Mahesh, you're up. Now, what's going on is you're standing on the table itself.
Okay.
And the Deva is actually maybe 2 meters from you or something, but his full focus is on a card, meaning that his back is actually turned to you. That would give you, in case you wanted to attack him, you get
That's what I'm thinking.
higher
Maybe.
ground, which is +1, and since you're attacking from the rear, that would give you +3.
Nice.
And he's unable to dodge any attacks from you because he's unaware of your.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm just gonna do a. If I do an all-out attack, does that give me a +3? It's not gonna. Well.
Didn't give you a +3 to hit him, yeah.
It'd be a +3, but you get a -3 on this round for defense. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
So that's gonna give my. So if I take my glaive and I just kind of attack him, so that's gonna give me that should give me a +6. Is that right?
+7.
+7.
Mm.
All right. It's a 9. So 9 + 7 is 16.
You definitely hit. There's no question about that. Glaive right through. All right, make a damage roll.
Oh. One.
What? Any strength modifier or anything to that?
I don't. No, I don't see any.
No.
I don't see anything.
So while you do hit him perfectly, you can feel that your glaive strikes something that seems like armor. You haven't really been able to see that, but it's strangely enough, it's not going through him as you were kind of hoping that it would.
Yeah.
So actually, his armor absorbs the damage that you caused because of that terrible.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It is a little bit unfortunate. However, what happens is that he definitely gets distracted by you as well. So in the next round, what he does is he takes and he does. Let me just see if that's actually here. No. So there is just stick to the combat actions that are actually in the quick start, just to not confuse people too much. Normally there would be a thing called a wild swing, which is you can attack opponents that you can't see, but you get a -3 to attack them. But what he decides to do is he's holding this orb in his hand, and he decides to throw it at a card. So he's actually throwing the orb at you. Now he's going to roll to see if he can hit you. And he rolls an 11, which means that he -3 for not throwing. Well, he actually does that. So that is a 14. So I believe your defense value is 7 or 8, right?
Yeah. Let me just take here. Yeah, 7 defense value.
Right. So you get hit by this glass orb, which is about this size, and as it hits you, it just shatters. Now what happens is you get engulfed in this sort of thickish, acrid smoke, and I need you to make a stamina roll, please. Difficulty 9.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so let's see. I got a +1, plus my -3. Yeah, +2, so -3.
So the -3 applies to all action rolls, but this is a resistance roll. So
okay, so it's just +2.
Yeah.
Okay. 7.
Right. It's a good roll, but not good enough, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
As you inhale these fumes, you all of a sudden start to feel lightheaded, and you completely lose your orientation. And you kind of stumbling around, trying to figure out what's what and who's where, and so on and so forth. Meaning that you will move in a random direction, and since that is you actually start to back up, and you sort of bump into the wall, and that's how you spend your round trying to figure out what's actually going on and where you are, and you can just feel these fumes messing with your head. Yep. So, and while this is going on, Mahesh, he's still not facing you as he's throwing. He's turning around towards you, but you get to do an action before he manages to do that.
All right. I think I'm just gonna do a standard attack.
Okay.
And
you still get the higher ground bonus. I assume you're still on the table.
Yes, I am still on the table. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's 4 + 1 is 5. Is it the 6?
Not enough.
No, I didn't think so.
So you swing your glaive, but you unfortunately you miss as he turns to you smiling.
We're like the worst warriors ever.
Yeah.
We're like the two stooges of.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I gotta say there has been some pretty spectacularly awful rolls. There has been some pretty good rolls on the part of. I mean, the rat that was pretty spectacular.
That was
pretty. It was a pretty good bite.
That was not quite intentional, but hey, that's
what happens
when you involve dice.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, right. All right. So what happens in this round is that the Deva has drawn his weapons and he slashes out at you, Mahesh, even though you are on this table. He just does a single attack to knock you off. That is a 6. Does that hit you?
My defense value is 7. So.
You just dodged a bullet or a sword right there.
Nice.
Swing and miss. While this is going on, Jake, you manages to so these fumes seem to evaporate pretty quickly, leaving you able to act on your own volition once again. So right now, the Deva is facing Mahesh, and he's maybe 3-4 meters away from you. So what do you do?
He's going to. Is he paying attention to me at all?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. He's gonna do an all-out attack on him.
All right.
In which case, so I'll do it with one axe, with the main hand.
Yep.
So let's see. So that would be
So you have your -3 penalty because
Minus
of the
three.
crippling injury, and you have +3 because it's in
+3,
his
so it's a
back,
0.
and,
Yep.
and your
And-
normal attack modifier as well, of course.
and it's at a +2. So that's a 10.
That's a 10. You hit him.
Yay!
Well done.
Yes.
Now cause some damage.
All right, so D12,
Don't
11.
roll a 1.
11.
Yes.
Really? All right, that's pretty cool. Do you have any damage modifier because of strength or anything?
It's 2d6. Well, it's actually 2d6. Damage is 2d6 plus 1.
Yes, because I changed the battle axes because they were not brutal enough.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
so that'd be a plus 1. So that's 13.
Oh, cool. So his armor does take some of the damage, but you definitely cut into him, and he's screaming as your battle axe sinks into his back.
Nice.
Right, Doug.
All right. Now I'm going to try to I'm going to attack him again because that's if he's already kind of taking
One
some
of the
damage.
things that you can do is that, so armor works in the way that it reduces the damage that you take from hits. However, and it does that across the entire body. However, if you choose to do a cold attack to a specific location, only the armor worn on that location actually reduces the damage. So let's say he's wearing a torso armor, for instance, but you decide to attack his head.
Right.
He would only have damage reduction if he was wearing a helmet as well, and so on and so forth.
Okay. So I could basically just kind of like go for his neck if he's.
You could, because he's not wearing a helmet. You would get the -3 modifier from a cold attack, but if you actually manage to hit, there would be no damage reduction from armor because
I think that's what I'm going to do.
Mm.
Because I've got a +1 modifier for my glaive, and it's only -2, so I think I can do it. Hopefully, I've got all my bad rolls out of the way. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll take my glaive and I'm gonna aim for his.
You're gonna try to strike his face.
Yes.
Do it.
12.
Awesome.
Nice. Nice.
That was the perfect time to get it.
Yep, it was.
Really cool. Right. That means exceptional hit table.
Excellent.
Cool. So roll D12 for severity and a D6 for actual effect.
All right. So I rolled a 7 for the D12
Okay.
and a 6 for the D6.
All right. So you make a serious slash in the target, causing him to suffer a minor bleeding wound, which means that he will lose D3 health for every round until that's bandaged. And not only that, you also cause double damage, which means you have to roll twice for damage to see how much you actually.
Okay.
Nice.
So that's a D12. Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna roll 2 D12.
Mm-hmm.
There's 6
Mm-hmm.
and an 8, so 14.
Oh my god. Right, so that means he is down. And there's no damage reduction because it's in the face. That means he's not doing very well anymore. I have to tell you.
It's
He's
about
not quite
time.
dead, but So you basically punch a glaive through his face, more or less, and he is bleeding profusely, roaring in pain. Which means that the next round, which is now, he is just gonna attack you with everything he's got, which means all three swords are just slashing away.
Oh no.
Now, the way it works when you do multiple attacks is that you have modifiers to hit, but also to your speed. So the first attack is done at your normal initiative. The second one is at speed -3, and if there's more beyond that, everything is at -3. So his first one is at 7, which is first, and then the next one would be at 4, and the next one would be at 1. So that would be after you guys. So his first attack, he is going to try to slash you. Okay. So the other thing is, since he is severely reduced in health now, if you look at your health bar on the right-hand side of your character sheet, you will see as you lose health, it has detrimental effects on you. So if you have half your health or lower than that, you suffer a -1 penalty to everything you do, from blood loss and fatigue and exertion and so on. If you have under a quarter of your total health left, you suffer a -3 penalty, which is what this poor diva is doing right now, I can tell you, without telling you too much.
Nice.
So he swings and he gets a, let me see, what was that? He gets a 7. Does that hit you?
It matches my defense value.
Then it hits you.
Okay.
So it's equal or exceeds, then it's a hit. All right.
Okay.
So he manages to hit you, and he causes a. What's that? He causes 5 damage to you.
I do have some leather armor.
Yep. So you deduct.
So
that
3.
from. Yeah, leather armor is a -2, which means that you suffer 3 damage.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's his first attack. The second one is going to come in at 4, which means it's after both of you, because of the initiative modifier.
Okay.
So, Jake, you're up.
Okay, so I think he's just gonna go ahead and do another. Well, is he still focusing on? Is he still focusing on Mahesh?
Most definitely, because somebody who just puts a glaive in your face, you kind of tend to focus on those people.
All right.
I would think. I've never tried, but I would think.
So he's gonna go ahead and do an all-out attack with his main axe again, and leave the second one, at the ready. So that's gonna be a +3, plus another 2, -3. So that's
+2.
Yeah, +2 for my attack. For the axe, for the attack. So let's see. That's 3, so that's 2. 12.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right, roll for damage.
All right. So let's see. 2d6. Oops. 2d6 plus 1. 10.
Wow. All right. You swing your axe and you just embed it in his back, and he just and drops onto the floor in a huge pile of turquoise blood. He's lying there. He is not feeling well at all. So, as you survey the surroundings, you notice that there is actually more than those 2 cages. There's actually a third one as well, and there are definitely people in there. And you see on the table where Mahesh is still standing, you have 4 glass orbs laying there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, Akkad's gonna just attempt to kind of wrench his axe out of his back, and just manage to pull it out,
Exactly.
kind of wipe the gore off on his cloak, and then sheathe them back, and then he's going to go ahead and proceed to what it says I have a bag in my inventory. Now, how many of those orbs would I be able to fit in that particular bag? Do you think
Definitely.
all of them?
'Cause they're about fist size or something
size.
like this. So you can definitely fit them.
Okay, so he would go ahead and proceed to put those into the bag just for easy carrying, and that way it's inconspicuous. Nobody can see them out in the open.
And I think I'm going to attend to the folks that are in the cages and try to help them out, at least the first one.
Right. So the cages are old and rusty, but they're also locked. So you can't really get to any of them unless you break the lock.
Okay.
But you can tell that it's a human in the first one, but one who seems sort of oblivious to whatever is going on. Seems to be either sleeping or unconscious. So even with a bit of poking and prodding, you really get no other response rather than
Okay. Can I go to the second cage and see if it's any different?
In the second cage, you have an old man, also human, but he seems a little bit more aware. Whispers, help me, get me out of here.
I'll be, and I'll tell them I'm gonna try. And can I try to break the lock?
Sure.
Okay. I guess that's what. How would I? Can I use? I don't know if my glaive would be an adequate tool to do that or not.
Sure. You can
Okay.
do that. It's an old and rusty lock, so it's a difficulty 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll.
Cool. All right. And I rolled a 5, so
And it shatters apart, and
excellent.
and the door.
And I'll reach in and help him out of the cage.
Thank you. Who are you?
I am Mahesh. I am from the Human Enclave.
Rhoda sent you. She still cares about us. But we must get away as quickly as possible. Please help. And then he faints in your arms.
All right. Can one of us? So we've got 4 orbs. Was there just 4 that we needed to find? I can't remember.
Well, there was the 5th one that he had.
Okay.
The Seer said that 6 children had been stolen.
Okay, that's right. I thought it was more than 4, so that's why I was saying. What about? Can we take a look at the? I'm just gonna like place the old man down gently and take a look at the third cage.
It's sort of an elderly woman who seems to be unconscious as well.
God, what do you think? We should help these folks, but I know we need to get out of here soon.
I'll carry these 2 out on my own.
All right.
You talk to the old woman and see if you can find. I only found 4 orbs. Can you please look for the other one? There was supposed to be 6.
This is true. Yeah, let me. I'll take a look around. So if I look, can I look around in the room a little bit more and see if I can find this this missing orb?
Right. So what you see in the rest of the house is it's quite clearly not a place where this David lives. It seems to be sort of a workspace or somewhere where he keeps his toys, so to say. So there's really there's no sort of practical. There's no bed. There's no such things. However, on the table where the orbs were, you see there are also some implements, such as various forms of knives and something that sort of looks like what you would probably think were torture instruments, but not necessarily what they are. And you definitely notice that on the table there are splotches of what could be dried blood. But beyond that, there's really not that much. There's a couple of copper oil lamps around the room, providing scant illumination.
Is the David still conscious?
You go and check him out. He is not conscious. He is. You can smell. You can sense that there's a very, very shallow breathing, but he is not. He's not conscious.
Okay. Okay.
Can we search to see if he has any more orbs on him?
Sure. As you go through, so he is the back where he withdrew the orb that he was throwing at a cart is still hanging at his side, and as you rummage through that, you can feel that actually there is what seems to be an orb in the bottom. So as you rummage through, you actually manage to pull out the fifth of the orb.
Okay, I guess that's that. Can I hand it to Akkad? And because I don't think I have a bag to carry it in.
Sure.
So I'm going to hand it to Akkad and say, Akkad, can you please put this with the others?
Sure. He just puts it in there ever so slightly, and then he goes ahead, and then he meanders back to the one individual that's passed out, and the elderly gentleman picks them both up on his shoulders and starts carrying them out.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll take the old lady. I'll rescue the old lady out of her cage and take her with me.
Okay, so you go up the stairs and you come up to the door and you take the bar off and you open. You notice that the plaza still seems fairly empty, and you can walk out pretty much unnoticed, even though you're carrying 3 bodies on you. But in Lynn, it's not such an uncommon sight, particularly when it's humans that you're dragging around. Although they're not used to humans dragging humans around, but apart from that, probably not that uncommon a sight. But where do you take them? What's the plan of action?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I think the safest bet would be to bring them to the Enclave first, because the hard thing is we have the orbs for the Seer, which is going to aid us in the overall arcing conflict. But then what do we do with these people we're trying to rescue?
Yeah.
Right. I think that's probably the smarter. Do we have enough time though?
That's the other thing. How much time do we have left? I suppose we should ask that.
Yeah. You would think that you have probably a couple of hours, but if you are to march all the way back to Ferrada and the human community, that would probably take at least half an hour each way, severely reducing the time that you have.
Yes.
But anyways, it's all guesswork that the mercenaries would arrive around midnight and so on and so forth. You know, they might come before, they might come a little bit after. It's based on what little information she was able to obtain.
Okay. In this case, I think if based on that information, I think we should actually see the Seer first, then get the because Akkad is more interested in serving Karada than helping these individuals because the greater good and all that.
Sure.
So he's gonna.
Whatever you have to tell yourself.
Yeah, basically. So we're gonna. What would Mahesh do in this case? Would he actually bring the old woman along, or would he leave them to their own devices?
No, I would bring the old woman along. I think that's I think the more humans in our enclave, the better. So we'll, I think adding this old woman. I'm not quite as strong as Akkad though, so I might
Take
not be
a bit of time.
Yeah, I might be struggling though, carrying this old lady.
So Christopher, as I have the athletics trait, and I've got both of these individuals, would I be able to do this at a brisk jog?
Yes, you would, because they're pretty emaciated, and you have, which your strength score is 4, if I recall correctly.
Strength. Let's see. Yes, strength is 4, so I've got a +1.
Yeah. So you would, for not too long a time, you would definitely be able to drag them at a very brisk pace. Yeah.
And again, it's about a 5 minutes distance.
Yeah.
To both places, so it'd be pretty quick actually. So we might as well. Yeah, I think that's the best course of action since it's 5 minutes out of the way.
I think so
now
too.
That I remember that. So we're gonna head to the Seer's place and we'll just lay them down outside of Seer's. Hope nobody eats them.
You do notice one of the rats eyeing one of those quite hungry.
Damn rats.
Yeah,
what about the art?
What they do. They gotta live as well, man.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
That's true. What about the RUESs? Rodents of unusual size.
Right. So you sort of stow them on the platform where the poles. Okay. Cool.
Yep.
All right, and you jump from pole to pole, and you get over to the hut on the small platform, and poke your head through, and you manage to not vomit because you are obviously prepared for the horrible stench on the inside.
Yep.
And the Seer, he said there. He said, "Did you find them? Did you rescue my children?"
And Akkad will open up his bag and hand him the 5 that they do have, and he'll say, "It's like, I'm sorry, we lost one."
No, my poor baby, my poor baby. And he takes the orbs and he sort of strokes the sort of puts them gently on a small rock or something. But thank you. You managed to rescue 5 of them. I'm eternally grateful. Now I can help you. Because you have helped me, so I will help you now. You seek to hurt the Sultan, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
He's surrounded by his gods, and he's a frightening being. But it's not his gods you should be wary of. It's the beast. He keeps a beast in a cage in his mansion. Don't let him unleash the beast, or you will. I've never seen the beast, but I've heard things, terrible things. You must not let him unleash the beast. but hey, this might help you. And he puts his hand into one of the piles of refuse along the sides, and he pulls out what looks to be a bronze sword. This is a magical weapon. With this, you can kill him with a single scratch. I'm sure of it. Here, take it, use it, and make sure that she won't, haunt us anymore.
I guess Mahesh will take it. Mahesh will take it. I'll look it over a little bit.
Right.
Kind of show it to Akkad.
It looks like it's really poor quality. It's a short sword. It's about this long, curved. Has seen some heavy use. But yeah, apart from that, it just looks to be a more or less regular sword, but just one that's taken a beat and is quite old.
Okay.
Thank you for this. I'll be
Yes.
sure to cut off his head with it.
All right. So I'm just gonna look at the sword a little bit more and just kind of wonder if they're actually telling the truth or not. But I will nod like thank you.
Do you have the appraisal skill or anything similar to that in order to be able to evaluate the quality of the item?
I don't see it here.
Somebody's awake.
I've got
Yeah, that's my son.
Cool.
no, I've got common lore, navigation, streetwise, inquiry. Yeah, I don't see anything else that's
No. Okay.
no.
But so, like I said, your immediate impression is that it's old and worn, and there doesn't seem to be anything special about it. But obviously, the Seer claims that this can hurt the Sultan.
All right. Well, thank you. And
No, thank you. You saved my children. Now, I must leave. In case you don't succeed, which you will, of course. But yes, thank you, noble humans.
Said that with a bit more disdain, and he's kind of.
He turns his back and he just ignores you and starts packing up stuff and putting the orbs into a small bag. Yeah.
all right. God, what says you?
I think we should head back to the compound so that we are able to actually prepare for the onslaught that's coming.
I think that's probably a good idea. We'll have to take these 3 people with us. Get them out of the way.
We will. I'll carry 2, and I'll run on ahead to warn Farada.
I'll carry 1, and I'll just kind of like be struggling as I'm following you, kind of.
So he's going to head out of the tent and pick up the other. We're going to make our way back across and grab them and just take off because we're gonna have to prepare for the oncoming attack.
Perfect. And I think looking at the time, I think maybe that's a good cue
Sure.
to break it for now. Could be fun to actually finish it at some point.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd have to we'll have to do that. That would be awesome. I would love to play the rest of this out.
Sure.
There were that was a lot of fun, and I'm going to tell everybody that it was it far exceeded anything that I envisioned for the session, which was really good.
Wow.
The system's really easy to pick up, and I hope everybody I hope that was evident with everybody.
Oh yeah.
There were a couple questions. Let's see here. Janie Lloyd says your Kickstarter has hit a crazy number so far. How did you do so well when all others have failed?
Well, I don't know if all others have failed. I think, well, it's different things. One thing is one of the things that is really cool about the RPG community is that people are very open and very helpful.
Right.
I have, so the reason why I got the idea to go on Kickstarter to start with was actually inspired by a guy called Wade Dyer from Australia, who launched his sci-fi RPG Fragged Empire.
Yes.
I think probably 4 years ago or something, and that was the first Kickstarter I ever supported.
Oh, nice.
And he inspired. I'm thinking, okay, so if he can do that, then maybe that's the way for me to go as well. And then I pledged. I did a pretty high pledge for him, so I created an NPC that I think is in the antagonist archive actually. And then I was writing him and just asking him questions, and he's been really helpful and a great support in this as well. And then you have the Burning Games guys.
They're great.
They just succeeded with Dragons Conquer America, and John from there, he's been really helpful as well.
John is awesome. I'm going to tell you right now. We've talked a few times, and he's. We tried to have him on the show for Dragons Conquer America, and we weren't able to make it happen. But I want to get. We've been talking back and forth a few times to get them on the show. He's just a great person to deal with.
Exactly, and he's just been incredibly helpful to me. There wasn't a question that he didn't answer. So that's one of the things. And then, like I said before, the golf role-playing community, everybody there has been really helpful in terms of, helping me play test and give ideas and said, why don't you do this and why don't you try that, and so on and so forth. And then, Crafty and Philip and all the cool artists that have agreed to help me out. So I think I used to call it sort of a global one-man show, but it's not a one-man show anymore. There's really a lot of people that have contributed to this. And I think it's about, doing something that you're passionate about and maybe getting that across.
I think a lot of, especially in the industry, and I think a lot of RPG players and the whole community in general knows that if you're making an RPG, you're not doing it because you want to make a lot of money on it. It's not something you're doing it because you're passionate about it, because you love the community. You want to be a part of that community, and I think other people, when they, especially in the RPG community, when they see somebody that wants to be a part and put their stamp on this in this industry and kind of put out their own game, they know that, hey, they're doing it because they really love the community more than anything else, and they're not doing it just to make a whole lot of money and bring in a whole lot of money and buy a fancy sports car and a big fancy house or anything. It's not like that with the RPG industry. It's people just making games because they love and they want people to play the game that they've created. It looks like Michael's back.
Yeah.
Michael,
I came back.
I appreciate that. Thanks for coming back. We did have a great session. I don't want to spoil it for you because I'm sure you're probably going to go back and watch it. But there was a lot of fumbling, a lot of
quite a few exceptional hits as well.
Yeah, but there were some really epic moments. So you'll have to go back and watch it at some point.
Yeah, I hope the rat carnage wasn't too bad.
Well, you'll have to watch it. You'll have to watch it and find out.
Yeah, I had to come back and tuck Christoffer in because it's like 3, 4 in the morning now, isn't it?
I know. Actually, someone made a comment. Let's see here. Chris, how hard is it keeping your thoughts straight at 3 a.m.? That's what somebody asked.
It's almost 4 a.m. right now.
Oh my word!
And because I was thinking about this, and I thought, well, the whole setting is supposed to be a little bit weird, so maybe the fact that I'm completely just might help that.
Sure.
So no, but like I said, I went to bed at the same time as my boys. I have 3 boys.
Oh, nice.
So I managed to catch a couple of hours of sleep, and then set my alarm clock for 1 o'clock in the morning. That's like, no. But it's been completely worth it. I've had a great time so far.
I hope. Let's see here. Audio Bart says we make art for the sake of art. I think that's a great. That's a great statement right there. How old are you? If you don't mind me asking, how old are your boys? Do you get to game with them at all? Have they played Black Void at all with you?
My oldest he's 8, and then I have a 5-year-old, and then I have a 5-month-old as well.
Oh.
So and the oldest one, who's 8, he realized what I was doing here when the Kickstarter launched because I showed him the campaign video, and then ever since he's been insisting that we play. And we've actually done a couple of sessions, and he's told his teacher about it. So now I have to go and do a presentation in front of his class about Black Void and so on. So that's going to be fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is great.
Just make sure you don't mention the critical hits table when you do that to the kids.
Boring. So, but I have a plan. Actually, I'm gonna get them to draw monsters, and if any of them are really cool, maybe they'll get included in the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because kids, they have some wicked imagination, So,
they do.
I'm sure they're gonna come up with something really, really nasty and cool.
That's whenever you can get, I game every once in a while with my daughter, and she's 11, and kids just have this mindset that adults we kind of lose that.
I lost it along the way. Yeah.
So it's always fun to
exactly.
get them with kids to see what their ideas are.
Immediately, what pops into their heads, which is like, yes, that's amazing.
Oh, okay. So we do have a couple questions. Ralta says, in the stretch goals, there are 2 modules listed.
Yeah.
Are these included with the Voidfarer pledge since they are listed as add-ons in their description?
Right. So, let me just make sure I get this straight, because you have the Voidfarer and you have the Void Marked,
right,
which are 2 separate. So the Voidfarer is the early adopter.
That one is not included, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to mess this up and say the wrong thing. So, sorry, the Voidfarer, which is not the early adopter, the 2 adventure models are included. In the Void Mark, which is the early adopter, you have to add them.
Okay.
But what you get from that one is obviously the PDF art book of all the amazing art and some of the sketches and some of the stories that went behind and some of the reasons and so on and so forth. forth. So because like you mentioned before, with the art, I mean, I really wanted to help these guys out as well because they're all up and coming. None of
Right,
them are
right.
really established artists. So I really it's sort of a collaboration, which is also why if you look at the updates, I've had features of the different artists really to get them some screen time as well because they have done an amazing job. I mean they're bringing the vision to life for sure. Um,
Christopher, do you do art yourself? I see you've listed yourself as doing some artwork.
Yeah, I do. I'm not nearly as good as the guys I'm working with, obviously. But and what I found out is that what I mostly do or should do are the black and white filler arts. Um, let me see
Oh
some of the
yeah.
stuff that I've done
Oops,
here.
no.
So some of that is featured, but for the full color stuff, I leave that to my talented artists because they're way better at stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I got the Void Fair pack for the Kickstarter. That's the one with the art book. I love that. That was such a good package.
Cool. And the fact that we now managed to get both additional adventure modules is really awesome. So I'm really stoked about Dan and John agreeing to do this. They both work with Gygax, which is
Yep.
incredible that they agreed to do this with me.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm really stoked about that as well.
I'm lusting after that game screen.
Yeah, no, I actually have a question here. If the screen would be unlocked at the end, but people didn't add funds for it, will it be possible to add it in a pledge manager? That's one question I had for you for your Kickstarter. Are you going to do a pledge manager afterwards? Are you going to do late pledges in case
What
people
I will
come
do
across?
is I'll do a web shop later on, where you can do that. But obviously, if people pledge for it now, the chance of us actually reaching that stretch goal is much higher than if they don't.
Yeah, and you guys should pledge because I did already.
So, and also one of the things is, for me, the Kickstarter is to actually to get this going, obviously. So one of the things that I've done as incentive is that I've put what you get for the amount of money that you put in is way better than what it will be when it's funded, so to say.
Sure,
Because
sure.
then we're going to revert to retail pricing, which is obviously going to be more expensive. So obviously you get a better deal if you do it before the Kickstarter ends, but that's not to say that it won't be available afterwards. But it's just not going to be at the same rate.
You're not going to get the special pricing. Let's see here. Lloyd Guyan says, "Quick question while we're here. What
Sure.
is the level of technology? Because I can't figure out how people travel through the void." That's a great question.
That is a good question. It's low tech. It is, think pre-medieval, probably. Uh, the way people travel through the void is that it requires somebody to be enlightened. And I've explained enlightenment in various forums and so on and so forth quite a few times. Basically, the world of the black void is a dual world. You have the cosmos, which is the physical matter and so on and so forth, and then you have the void, which is beyond that, and they're separated by a veil. When you reach enlightenment, you have an intuitive understanding of existence that you don't, because you can see beyond the apparent, and that's what you need to be able to travel through the void. It's kind of like Jake mentioned Babylon 5 before.
Yep.
And I really love that show. The way they travel, it's kind of like that a little bit. So actually, you take you can there are places where the veil is thin, perforated, where you can actually go from the cosmos into the void, and inside the void, there are these currents because they flow towards where the veil is thin. So if you can actually manage to find one of these currents, you can float along it, and then you're going to pop out in a world somewhere, or at least somewhere where the veil is thin. So that's sort of the basics of it. However, the unseen rulers of Lynn have ships, which is basically regular ships, but they're manned by these mystics who are able to navigate and charter through the void. So you can actually charter a ship to sail through the void to get to other worlds. However, there are obviously inherent dangers in this because the void is chaos and catalyst for change and so on and so forth. So it might affect you. It might be in a good way. It might be in a bad way. You don't know. But if you're overexposed, then it's definitely gonna leave a mark on you. Which is why you have the void marked, because they have been affected by the void and have thus become more than merely human. I hope that sort of explains it.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yep.
It kind of reminds me of again that Dune reference that
Yeah.
that you made earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dune reference with the I picked up on that too when you mentioned it, because I wasn't here for the start, so if that would happen in the start, I picked up on that right away. I was like, oh, so it's kind of like that.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there are some similarities there, and
I like
I do love the Dune setting. And,
No, it kind of hits multiple points of interest with me, because it's got like all these different references that just kind of that I just really get into. So I'm really excited for your project. I can't wait to see where it's going to end up for you.
Yeah, me too.
If folks haven't pledged, you should take a look and pledge at the link down below. If you're watching this after the fact, I'll try to update the description and put whatever link Christoffer has for a web store or whatever after the fact, because this will be archived on the channel for folks to watch even after the fact. You guys have any other questions for Christoffer before we sign off? Because I feel bad that it's after 4 a.m. for you.
Yeah.
It's worth it. I'm having a blast, by the way.
It's hot in Dubai. You like night better, don't you?
Yeah, actually, right now I don't know how much it is in Fahrenheit, but today it was 43 degrees Celsius.
Oh my god,
that's pretty hot. That's pretty hot.
And it's not even summer yet, so
it's like double our heat here right now. It was about 20 degrees Celsius here.
Wow.
So it's I don't even want to picture that. That's hot.
That's hot.
And when the summer hits, it's gonna be a lot worse. You just don't want to go outside.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
But it's still a good place to live. So.
No doubt. Now, one thing I don't think I asked, how far along is the book? How much more work do you have to do before it goes to before it goes to print and all that?
So it's about 75% written.
Okay.
So all the rules and all that is done. What is missing is some of the lore and the descriptions and so on and so forth. It's all in here. I just gotta get it on paper. You know? So I've said I tend to be a time optimist, but with this I've really tried to be.
You look really organized.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, but I have this thing. I might be, but in my head, it's never good enough. So the thing is, I intend to send out the PDFs in September, and then the physical in November, because that gives me enough time to actually do the printing and make sure that everything is of the quality that I want it to be. And I definitely think that's doable. So right now, all the artists are working on the briefs, and now that we reached the more art stretch goal as well, they're going to be extremely busy. But the additional stuff has already started pouring in, and it looks awesome.
Very cool.
So I think we're about 75% done in terms of writing, and I've got some really cool contributors on board as well that have come up with some cool ideas and who really get the setting from let's say the limited amount of stuff that I've put out. And that's one of the things actually as well, because I've been afraid that people get this because it is really weird and strange and so on. But there's a lot of people that are on board, and that's
Yeah.
amazing for me to see.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just so stoked about it.
That's great. That's great. All right. Well, I think on that note, we're going to wrap it up and just tell everybody to go check out the Kickstarter. You've got a few hours left. How many? What do we say? 70 some odd hours left. Although it's probably less than that now.
About how far along are we? Let's just get it.
54 hours to go.
Hours.
54 hours. So if you haven't checked out Black Void, go check it out on Kickstarter right now.
Still not done.
It's a phenomenal system. It's so good. I can't wait to see the final product and help Christoffer get this game off the ground, because this definitely deserves to be in your RPG collections. I believe. So
Sure.
I'm really excited to see,
absolutely.
and I have a feeling that this is just the first step in a few other projects that you probably have on down the line. You seem like you've got a well. You seem like the person that has stuff has projects planned in advance.
There's a few things in the pipeline for sure. The plans for Black Void is, once the core book is done, then there's going to be regularly scheduled releases, which is going to be, my immediate thought is to do sort of world books, which are particular
that would be
to
cool.
world, and including adventure modules in them as well for that particular world, so that we're sort of expanding on the cosmos as we go along, and so that there's continuously new things. But that being said, the way I like to do it is to leave quite a lot of blanks for people to do their own things in it, because I don't like stuff that's too granular, where you're too railroading. So you're going to see that in the maps as well, as there will be areas where it's not that detailed, so that creative GMs out there can plug in their own stuff. So
Very cool.
Cool.
Very cool. Well, once you've got another project, feel free to come out. Actually, we should probably have you back on just to continue the session that we just had. And we'll have you on again, and we'll probably try not to do it at 4 o'clock in the morning. We'll
that
probably
would be
keep
appreciated, but right now it's all right.
Actually, you know what we should do, Christoffer, is when the game's all ready for print and ready to sell, we'll have you back on and finish our story and tell folks that they can pick it up from online.
You got a deal, man.
All right, that's great.
That's
all right.
promise right there.
Michael, Jake, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, thanks for having us. That was great.
And you guys have to come back on again and do other sessions with me, because I think it was a blast, and I think we could have more fun.
Oh, for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Go back Black Plague right now. My name is Doug. This is Victory Condition Gaming, because winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. We'll see you next time.